Hello, my name is Chris. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Codewars 6 Caillou Find the Most Frequently Occurring Elements in Arrays. Excuse me. So our input is going to be a 5-day JSON weather forecast which consists of 5 arrays. Each of the 5 arrays includes 8 numbers which represent 3 hourly temperature forecasts for a given day. Our output is an array which includes the most frequent number, temperature, from each of the 5 arrays' days. In case there is a tie, return the value present later in a given array day. Alright, so here's an example of a variable, and then our output should be 21, 22, 20, 19, 20. Okay, 21 because it appears 1, 2, 3 times, and that's the most. 22 because we've got 22, 22, 22 4 times, and yeah, that's the most in that array. And then here 20. So we go through here. Yep. So we've got 4 20s and just one of the other numbers. For the 4th array, 19. Each number appears once except for 19, so that's the most. And finally, for the 5th array, here we have that edge case where we have 24 appearing 3 times and 20 appearing 3 times. Well, we should get 20 because 20's last index is the greatest, greater than 24's last index. Alright, so our variable is going to be just called JSON, and that's going to be this object here. So I'm going to copy that, and I like to do all my algorithms in CodePen so I can see what my code is doing as I type it. We're just going to start out, whoops, I forgot to name this. That's going to cause problems. It's called JSON function. We're just going to call it func. And then we're going to return JSON. And then we're going to console .log func. There you go. Now we should get that. Yep. We've got that object now. Alright. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to loop through. Basically, we're going to have to create an object for each of these arrays, right? And then we loop through each of these arrays, and we store how many times a number appears in each array in its object. Once we have that, we loop through each object and see which key has the greatest value, and then return the key push that into a result array. And then, like that edge case here, oops, sorry, wrong one. That edge case here, where if a number appears, if there's 2 numbers that are the greatest, you need to return the number or add the number that has the last occurrence of the number has the highest index into the result array. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to create basically 4 variables for each array here. So we're going to start with that, and you'll see what these variables are doing eventually. Object 1. And we're just going to set that to an empty object for now. And then we're going to this is the max value. Set that to 0. And then this is going to be the max key. We set that to 0 initially. And then we, of course, we need to be checking for that last index for the edge cases. Sorry, I forgot to put a 1 there. 1. And that should be 0 as well. Alright, so we're going to have to do this for all 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and then I'm just going to paste, whoops, paste 5 times, more, great. Now we've got to change all these numbers. These all need to be 2s. These all need to be 3s. These all need to be 4s. Finally, these all need to be 5s. Cool. All right. Then finally, and to speed things up, I'm just going to start copying and pasting here. Finally, we need a variable for all the indexes that we're going to have for each of these. So basically, excuse me, I'm a little cold today. So basically, we need a variable for the index of each one of these arrays. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I'm just going to paste that in for time's sake. Oops, wrong one. Excuse me. And then we're going to... Oh, crap. I missed it again. Sorry about that. 1 second. Now we got it. All right, very cool. So now we got a variable for each array's index, all those subarrays, right? And you'll see what we're using all this for in a second. All right, so basically we're going to have to we're going to have to loop through each of these arrays, like I said. As we loop, oh no, I'm sorry, we're going to loop through each of these arrays, and as we go through, we're going to say, for this first one here, is this number a key in this object, right? If it is not, then we're going to add it to the object and give it a value of 1. So on this first iteration here, we're going to add 15 and give it a value of 1, right? If that value does exist as a key, we're going to increment the value by 1. So what's going to happen here is we're going to start at 15. We're going to put 15. It's going to get a value of 1. 17 is going to go with a value of 1. 19 is going to go with a value of 1. 21 is going to go with a value of 1. And then 20, we see 21 again. And all that's going to do is increment 21 to 2, then increment 21 to 3, and then we're going to add 20, and that's going to be 1, and then 16, we're going to add that as a value of 1. So you're basically going to have each one of these numbers is going to have a value of 1 except for 21. And then, of course, we need to do that for each array, right? And then the second one's going to go into object 2, so on and so forth. Then we loop through the object, right? We're going to loop through object 1, and we're going to say, we're going to basically we're going to say if the value of this number, right, is greater than max 1, we're going to reassign max 1 to that value, right? So if you imagine an object, 15 with the value of 1, 17 with the value of 1, 19 with the value of 1, 21 with the value of 3, 20 with the value of 1, 16 with the value of 1, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to start off and see the 15, and it's going to see that it's got a value of 1, so that's greater than 0, right? So we're going to reassign max 1 to 1, and then max key is now going to become 15. Okay. Then we're also going to assign the last index, right? So right here, last index is now just going to be 0, right? It's going to stay the same because that's that index 0, right? Cool. So then once we get to 17, nothing's going to happen because when we loop through that, we're going to create an if statement that says if max 1 is greater than the value of the next number, I'm sorry, is less than, we're going to change the max 1 to the value of 17. So basically, once you get to 21, then it's going to change because 21 has a value of 3. So now max 1 becomes 3, and max key now becomes 21. And then eventually, this is going to change to, this last index is going to change to this index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's eventually going to change to the index of 5. Okay? So I hope this is all making sense. And then finally, we're going to push the max key into a result array. So for this, we're going to push 21 into an array, result array, then push 22 into a result array, then push 20 into a result array, then 19, and then here, we're also going to be checking that last index thing. So we're going to be pushing, or that last index variable. So we're going to be pushing 20 into that result because 20, the last index of 20 is going to be, what is this? 8, 1, 2, 3, or sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 7. It's 8 elements. So it's going to get 20. All right, so what we could do is we could write functions for each one of these arrays. But obviously that's going to take a lot of code. We're already writing probably too much code than we should be at the moment. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a helper function, and then I'm going to call all the function 5 times, you know, each, the first time with these variables as parameters, second time with these variables as parameters, so on and so forth, right? So I'm just going to copy and paste something here to speed this up a bit. Alright, so basically there's us calling this function we're about to create. Alright. And then, whoops, sorry, I kind of did this a little haphazard. We also we need to create that result array, which we're going to push all the max values into. So right now that's just an empty array. Alright, so we need to create the function. So we're calling it find max. So here, function, and then find max. Okay. And so we have this object 1, max key 1, last index 1, 0, right? And that's going to happen for each one. So we're just going to get rid of these numbers and create these parameters here. We're just going to make this object max max key, last index, and then here for these numbers here, we're just going to call that index. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to loop through our variable up here, right? Or, I'm sorry, we need to loop through this array, right? So we'll just refer to the first array there as we're walking through this function. So we're going to take JSON dot temperature, right? Because we have this object here at index, right? Because what's happening here is now, excuse me, when we create these variables here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this first time we call it, the index is going to be 0, right? And so that is going to get the 0 indexed array, right? And then, of course, next time it's going to get the first index, then the second, the third, and the fourth, right? All right, and then we're going to use the map method. We're going to name our variable num to our arrow function. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say num in object, right? That's like saying if this num, right? If this num, we'll just use this first one here, is in this object, and I'm using a ternary operator here, what we're going to do is we're going to increment object, num by 1. Okay. If it is not in the object, we're going to create object num equals 1. Now we should have something in object 1, so I'm going to return that for now. Let's just see what that looks like. There you go. So every number has a value of 1, except for 21 has got a value of 3. Okay, so there's step 1. Then, and this is, by the way, should work for all of them, right? So object 2. Yep, there you go. Object 3. Right. So we're all set with that. Now we need to loop through each one of these objects. So in this helper function, we're going to loop through the object. Okay. And we're checking for the greatest value. So, you know, in the first object, we're looking for this 3 here, this 21. And the second we're looking for this 4 here, 22. So we're going to say for. We use a for loop through the object, and that's how we do this in objects. We select key in object. All right. Now we're going to use an if statement, and we're going to say if object key is greater than max, right? So that's, we'll just refer to object 1. That's this max 1, which is going to be 3, right? That's 3 there. Okay. So if the object, or yes, right. Wait a minute. Right. Okay. Or, and we're going to say or, and now we're going to put this all in parentheses because we're going to have 2 conditions here. We're going to say object key is equal to max. So now we're checking if there's like, two equal values like we have here, where you have 24 is 3 and 20 is 3, right? So we're looking for that. And take JSON dot temperature at the current index, and then we're going to look for last index of number and key is greater than last index. Okay. So, if all of this is true, well, if either of these are true, if that's true or if that's true, those are our two, oops, keep going to the wrong one. All right, those are really all we're checking for, is the most frequently occurrence in array, and if there's two or more numbers with the most frequently occurrence, you look for the one with the greatest last index in the initial array. So this is checking for which one is greatest, if there's only one greatest, and this one is checking if there's multiple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say max now equals object key, and then we're going to say max key now equals number key, and finally we're going to say last index equals JSON dot temperature index dot last index of number and then key. All right. So now we should have all these values to be what we want at the very end. And so the last thing we need to do in our helper function is simply just to push into result dot push max key. All right, so let's try this out. Ooh, number is not defined. That needs to be capital. My bad. Here we go. So now we look at result. '21, '22, 2019, 20. 21, 22, 2019, 20. Bam. Looks like we got it. All right. So let's copy all of this, and we are going to paste it in here. Let's test it out. Great. Let's attempt it. Fantastic. We made it. All right. Let's go ahead and submit. All right. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more like these, please like and subscribe to my channel to help it grow. Enjoy the rest of your day.